Thank you for joining us. It's very nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you. Thank you for doing this for us.
Well, I've got a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yes.
And I would like to jump in because I do know that your time is so short.
Yes, please.
What does the government is going to invest most in Canada and in Ontario?
What we did with the fall economic statement was really try and balance fiscal responsibility while at the same time providing the supports that Canadians need most. We have heard loud and clear that affordability and housing are two top priorities for Canadians. That's really the focus of the fall economic statement. In the area of housing, we've committed $15 billion to the apartment construction loan program. What this means is it's going to create more apartments so that the supply is increased, and then that ultimately brings down the cost of rent, which we know many Canadians are struggling with. There's an additional $1 billion that's going to be committed to not-for-profit, co-op, and public housing. This is to provide more affordable housing because, as well, this is an area where we've heard major concerns. There's a few other things in addition that I think are important. We know that many Canadians are facing the task of renewing their mortgages, like their mortgages are maturing, and now they're facing rates that are higher. So we are coming forward with a Canadian mortgage charter. What this is going to do is it's going to provide transparency and rights for Canadians who are renewing their mortgages so that they don't have to be in a position where they're walking away from the mortgage. We want them to be able to afford those monthly payments. So we're having the banks work with their clients, the Canadians, so that they can continue to occupy their homes and pay their mortgages. So there's rights embedded in that mortgage charter. And then finally, cracking down on the Airbnb space, ensuring that those that are operating Airbnbs are doing it in a way that is complying with local rules. And at the same time, if they're not, if these spaces can be provided for long-term rentals or occupancy to free up those spaces, because if they're there, we want to make the best use of them. So that's on the housing piece. On the affordability piece, really strengthening competition laws. The importance of this is that it doesn't cost us anything to do this, right? This is giving more powers so that there's greater competition. When there's greater competition, then we know that that drives the prices down. It's a good thing for Canadians. And then a second one that I think a lot of people maybe are not aware of the cumulative effect, but there's many junk fees or service fees that are connected with various services that are provided. And this includes, banking services with airline tickets, those sorts of things. Really trying to reduce these junk fees so that those dollars that Canadians are paying are back in their pockets as opposed to the providers of the services. And then the last one that I would highlight is removing the GST and the HST on counseling services. We know that mental health is so important for Canadians. We want to ensure that they're getting the supports that they need. Very happy today that the government has announced the 3-digit hotline for those that need support with respect to mental health. This is a very significant and important step our government is taking. But those are some of the measures in the fall economic statement that I really want to highlight to your viewers and listeners.
Thank you. How about allocating some money on the growth of the economy as a sector of, let's say, industrial ones, since I do know that Ontario is investing a lot of money in batteries, EV batteries. Is there any sort of categorization on this front?
Well, I'm very happy that you asked that question because I think it's important for Canadians to see the investments that the federal government is making and to better understand why we're doing this. So we believe in Canada, we have a generational opportunity here. We want to be on the cutting edge of the forefront of creating those good paying jobs for generations to come. So not only our children, but our great-great-grandchildren. The EV space is a perfect example of that. So you look at the federal investments into companies like Stellantis, Volkswagen, Northvolt. These are all companies that are going to invest billions of dollars in Canada to create their product in the EV space. Specifically here, this is EV battery space. I'm happy as the minister responsible for federal economic development to work hard then also to complement that by ensuring that we are making investments in the small and medium-sized businesses that support that end-to-end supply chain. So there's the significant investments that are being made by the government with respect to attracting this foreign investment. And I have to say that Canada fares very well. We are attracting foreign investment from around the world. And I think that's because people recognize that Canada is a fantastic country to invest in. We have the people, we have the resources. So it's great to see that. And then there's federal development agencies across the country that are also ensuring that we're taking advantage of that, creating those end-to-end supply chains. So it's not only the EV battery that's being created, it's all the widgets that are required to put the EV battery together to make them close at hand so that these companies don't have to rely on them being transported in from around the world. We can create that right here in Canada.
The next question goes to the small businesses. Since Canada is a country of small businesses, what are specific items in your agenda for, first of all, for CEBA, which is going to be expired within a month, and also helping those small ones that cannot, lift themselves up after COVID-19?
Okay, thank you for that important question. So first and foremost, CEBA was one of the measures that we introduced through COVID to get businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, through a very challenging time. And you are right to ask this question. We as a government want to support those small and medium-sized businesses. They are generating jobs that are good paying and really increasing economic development and growth across the country. So CEBA was one of the measures, as well as the wage subsidy, the rent subsidy. We tried to ensure that businesses were supported during this very challenging time. So a significant amount of investment from the federal government to take businesses through. The CEBA loans have been extended 3 times already, and now we've introduced some flexibility for them to refinance and try and ensure that we are providing them with the flexibility they need. But we recognize that small and medium-sized businesses are they're facing challenging times. So for me, as the Federal Economic Development Minister, we focus on small and medium-sized businesses. That's exactly what our focus is. I'm in Ontario, but as I've said, there's other development agencies that are regional development agencies across the country that are doing the same thing I'm doing in different parts of the country. And so we do 2 things with respect to small and medium-sized businesses. First and foremost, we fund organizations, not-for-profit organizations, that help those small and medium-sized businesses get their feet off the ground. So coming up with an idea, we want them to have a space where they can be mentored, where they can have their questions answered, where they can meet with like-minded people and grow in an environment that's conducive to growth, where they can access capital. So that's part of what we do. The other part is that we offer funds to help businesses scale up. So it's a business scale up. It's providing them with loans, interest-free, that they can use to take their businesses to the next level. We're going to continue to do that because we absolutely believe that the strength we have is our people. They have amazing potential, and we want to bring those those possibilities and potential into reality.
My next question goes to your view on a mid-run economy, not the short one and not the long one. What is in your agenda to see what part of economy do you want to see it grow and flourish?
So there's a number of priorities we have. We know that we're in a climate crisis. So we absolutely want to ensure that we are supporting innovation every step of the way to ensure that our GHG emissions are reduced. So there's a number of investments. When we are making investments, even in my portfolio, we are looking at that. Are there innovative ways for businesses to carry on their business that they can cut their emissions. And so this is very important. In the EV space, it's a perfect example, right? So we see businesses now that are working in this space, and we want to take advantage of the innovation and creativity. The other thing is that, we want to inspire businesses and support businesses that are going to make communities great places to live. We know many small businesses on main streets, for example, and we had a My Main Street program where we supported small and medium-sized businesses on main streets, because for us to grow the economy, we have to create communities where people want to live and work. And many of those small and medium-sized businesses are doing just that by providing, various things, whether it's a nice place to shop for groceries, whether it's culture and the arts, whether it's entertainment, whether there's so many opportunities selling wares and things that are produced locally. So we want to make sure that we are creating communities that people want to live and work. And this really leads to taking a whole of government approach. Yes, we're making the significant investments in things like the EV space, in green steel, in many other areas, but we also at the same time are ensuring that we are creating spaces where people want to live and work, and the infrastructure is there to keep them happy and well.
Thank you so very much for the time, for everything. Hopefully we will meet each other again soon.
I look forward to that, Arash, and I do want to wish you and all your viewers a happy all the night on December 21st. So please, that message, if you could get that out. All the best.